Alright, so here's the trick. I'm trying to get this to pull out, and I've been just trying to tap it like this to see if it would come out, and it's not coming out. And I got to be real careful because I don't want to do anything that's going to exert pressure on these fingers that stick down right here, because I could easily probably snap one of these off, because I think this is just cast. So, not sure how I'm going to go about doing this. Let's see if I can find something wider. This actually, this wide part right here gets really skinny right here. It looks like it might be just like a pin-shaped piece, but it doesn't seem to want to rotate. I'm just wondering if I can get something in there just the right size to put a little prying force on there. Maybe. Maybe not. In other words, I'm trying to get this off without actually putting any stress on the casting. Oh, it just moved a little bit. Definitely. Okay. Need to get something wider. There we go. Yep, it's a pin. Probably should have had something under there so that when this dropped, it didn't hit the concrete, but luckily, no damage. Sweet. So take this bolt, stick it right back in this part right here where it came out. Right there. Keep that all together. Alright, so now this inside of this quick change gearbox is empty. Well, except for this shaft right here, which actually, that shaft actually doesn't go anywhere. That's just the shaft that the handle, the change direction handle on the side of the apron hinged on. So that only actually goes into here and stops. What holds that in there, I don't know. Well, now I do. I can feel a square-headed bolt right underneath here where my fingers are. So this is the rod I'm talking about now. I can remove, I bet you if I just get my, feels like it's the same size as that last one, so let's try this wrench, see if I can blindly get on that head. I found a 12x5 gear head with the hook head just like mine for sale. He wants either $19.50 or $2,500 for it. So that ain't gonna be a parts candidate. Try to get my head under there. So it actually feels like it's fitting on there is a 16mm socket of all things. Of course, it could be just the strange angle I'm going in at, but it's also because of the way that it's kind of up underneath here. It's easier to get on it with the socket than the wrench I was trying to use. Oh, it's tight. There we go. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's the shift lever. Oh, that rotates to shift this, so. So I think what's going to happen is, I think this screws into this other part of this. There's like a yoke almost that it grabs onto there, onto the ball end of this lever. I think when I slide this out, well, easier said than done. I'm hoping that when I slide this shaft out, then I'll be able to actually take that piece out of there. Let me try and slide it out and see what happens. Yeah, not even. Nope, that ain't moving. It's tight. Alright. I think that the next move for me is going to be, since I now have that gear and shaft out of the way, I know I can just slide that right off of there. And with that slid off of there, I should be able to take that whole bracket assembly off. And then I think I can take this whole quick change gearbox housing off, because it's actually, there are bolts on the inside here that actually thread into the back side of this casting, and that's what actually holds this in here. So I think if I take that whole assembly off, at the very least I should be able to turn it and rotate it down so I can exactly see how that shaft is in there. Alright, so like I said, this should just slide right off now. Oh, look at that. Wow, look at that funky. Look at this crazy washer. It's got a little steel pin on it. Well, if that don't beat all. What's the purpose of this? Pin goes into the pin goes into a hole on the end of the shaft here. Alright. So now I'm going to take these two nuts off that you normally would tighten after you've adjusted the thing. And then I think this whole bracket will be able to slide off, and I'll just leave these gears on it for now, for storage. Okay, so I just removed those two nuts, so now with a little bit of working back and forth, this should slide off, and it does seem to be coming. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't like that. Oh, okay. That's just the washers. This washer and this washer go underneath the two clamping nuts. What I don't like is this just fell out. This is a tiny set screw. This looks like the tiny set screw that was in. Why does this look like the tiny set screw that was in here? But I didn't think I took that out. That's weird. That's a tiny set screw. Man, that's dirty. Can't believe how many gloves I'm going through. Ooh, that's nice and clean and shiny. Oil on it. Love it. Love it. Love to see it all slicked up. Alright. This shaft right here actually looks like the back of the shaft goes through and has a huge nut on it. So it looks like if I wanted to, I could take that nut off and pull this whole shaft out of this housing. But I really don't have a need to do that right now, so I'm not going to. No, what I'm more interested in is whether or not I can... Alright, so here's a square-headed bolt that was really kind of hidden underneath here that's now going to be easy to get at, because I've removed this whole bracket assembly. So that's one point that's holding on the housing. There's nothing, there's actually a gap right here. I can stick my fingers right through there, and there's a gap I could put paper through. So this actually upper part here is just kind of floating. And then we got two square-headed bolts, one right above the other here. And I can't see if there's anything at the bottom. Actually, it doesn't look like there is. Very interesting. Why is that just supposed to kind of hang off of that? Well, one way to find out. Loosen the bolts and see what happens. Of course, we'll loosen them slowly and carefully, and then we'll kind of just wiggle it and see what moves and what doesn't. I think I might see if I can find a socket to fit those square head bolts. Taking the gloves off again. And this isn't just dirty, this is just filthy. Found a socket that with a small amount of tapping fits on the head pretty nicely. It's pretty loose. Got those three bolts loose. Let's see what moves. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's gonna work. Thought these pretty loose until you go to get them out. Your fingers. One of those deals where it turns free and then it doesn't turn. That's the bottom one. Let's see if the top one's the same length. You know what's happening? I think the weight. Yeah, the weight of the housing is actually on there, and that's what's making that hard to take out. That is a long screw, long bolt. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to take the bottom one out all the way. That way it's hanging from the top one instead of hanging off the bottom one. You don't want this torque of this trying to fall down this way, bending this bottom bolt. I'd rather have it hanging off the higher one. That makes sense. Now where's the socket I just had on this? I thought this was... Oh, this ain't the one. Dummy. I've got too many ratchets hanging around here. I'll be doing some cleanup real soon. Got a little bit too much of everything hanging around right now. Good problem. Went out too far. Now the back of the ratchet's trapped up against the part that sticks out here. So I gotta get rid of that. Let's see if let me just throw another glove on. Oh! I guess I had unscrewed that top one a little too far. Oh, I don't want to bend this rod, so I gotta move this over onto the floor. Oh, this is heavy. Heavier than I thought it would be. Ha ha ha. Alright. Check. These two bolts are the same size. Alright, well this is kind of disheartening. What we got here is that I got this turned upside down now. You can see that this is the square-headed bolt that I had loosened, which theoretically I would think would let this shaft now slide out this way. There's this collar right here that feels like it's probably got a set screw on it somewhere, but I think that collar is just to control keeping this from being able to move in. My problem is that this shaft goes right through, it goes into the casting here, and this is a blind hole that it goes into. In other words, there's no place for me to put a punch or a drift and tap on the back here to get this shaft to come out. So, the question is, how do you get this to come out? Now, I've got this loosened completely, so this is not doing anything now. The shaft does not have any keyway on it up this end. The keyway is all down this end where the actual handle would slide back and forth. So I don't think this is keyed onto that. So I'm wondering whether or not it's supposed to be able to swing around and rotate and have its position changed if necessary. That being said, it's not moving right now. I'd have to put something on this shaft. See, it won't go past that point because of the bolt. So if I put the shaft on there, it might actually, if I put a wrench on there, I might actually be able to turn it. I really hate the idea of putting a wrench on this thing because I just know I'm going to end up putting some nasty teeth marks on it. But I'm just kind of wondering how else I'm going to do this. See, that won't move in that way because this collar. But I don't want to go in that way. I want to come out. So I'm wondering if I can get something in this small space in here and get it to pry. Let's see. Let's try. Just tap this screwdriver in there. See if that moves any. Oh yeah, there it goes. So I'm just using a screwdriver as a wedge. Same drill as before. Just get to a larger screwdriver. That's pretty much that I need. Need the real big one. Try this one. I was going to a point and then it just stopped. It came out to a point and then it just kind of stopped. I have an idea. Pickle fork. Oh. Too narrow. Right kind of tool, wrong size. What if I just do it on the back side of the work? Bummer. Found my other screwdriver. I just moved this about 1/8 of an inch more. There. Wunderbar. And we got a nice dimple right there, so get an idea of where this goes back on. Oh, that is keyed. There is a key in there. So, no mystery. Look at that. The shaft. They have a key groove cut in here. No key on this part of the shaft going back. Oh, wait a minute. You guys are looking at it. Sorry. Alright, you get a key on this part of the shaft right here, and then no key here, and then right up here They ground another key. Very interesting. My back is killing me.